guys, this is Eliza and welcome back to a new video. So today I'll be filming the mid-year book freakout tag for 2019 and I'm going to limit myself to 2 books per question because otherwise it's going to get out of hand, especially the questions like the best book you've read this year so far. It's going to go insane. So 2 books and I'm just going to choose the first 2 that come to mind. So let's get started. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2019. So the 2 books that came to mind for this were both recent reads. And firstly we have Contagion by Erin Bowman. I devoured this book. I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I read this in 24 hours. Absolutely loved it. And Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I really enjoyed this book. The world and everything. Another 5 stars. So those are the 2 I'm gonna go with. So question 2 is best sequel you've read in 2019. So I'm going to go with Vardacia by Lynette Noni, which is the last book in the Madoran Chronicles series, which is my literally favorite series besides Harry Potter. I absolutely adore this series and I read this one this year as it came out this year and it was so fucking amazing. I love this series and I'm so sad that it's ended. And then second I have King of Fools by Amanda Foody, which is the second book to Ace of Shades, and I read this recently, like last week I think it was, and absolutely loved it. It is an amazing sequel. It just builds on everything that Ace of Shades was. The world is incredible, the magic system is amazing, the characters are just so damn good. This is heartbreaking. It's just I love the sequel. Question 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. So I'm gonna go with books that I own for this question, not just new releases because there are so many. But I'm gonna choose The Candle and the Flame by Nafisa Azed. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I've heard pretty good things about this and this cover is just gorgeous. I can't wait to read this. I will be reading it in July, fingers crossed, for one of the readathons. So I'm so keen. So question 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I'm kind of a little bit cheating because this book is already out, but it came out in July so it still counts for the second half of the year, and that is the sequel to Contagion, Immunity by Erin Bowman. It came out a couple days ago and I'm so freaking keen for that because as soon as I read that I was like, I need a sequel because that book was just amazing and I can't wait for Immunity. I need to order it. I still haven't ordered it. I think I was meant to pre-order but then I forgot and I just can't wait. But yeah, that one. And also this is kind of cheating as well because this book is technically out. It's just this edition that I'm keen for, and it is the hardcover special edition of Akane by Lynette Noni. It's the first book to Vardacia, which I mentioned before, and is one of my favorite series of all time, and I can't wait for this edition. It is stunning. It is like green with the school logo on the front and it's got metallic gold edges and it's just I can't wait for that book. So question 5 is biggest disappointment, and the first book that came to mind is Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. This is just, it was disappointing. It was disappointing. I had high hopes for this book. Well, not even really high hopes for this book because I didn't really know what it was about, but I expected to enjoy it and I've heard like so many good things about it. But since reading it, I've also heard a lot of people didn't like this. And I was just underwhelmed with it. Like the world was underwhelming, the characters, the relationships, it just wasn't developed very well. And like I'm still curious to see what happens next, but as for the actual characters and the world and everything, I'm just left a little bit lackluster. Like I need more. So yeah, this one was definitely a disappointment and I did review this one, so I'll leave my review link down below. But yeah, I need more. Question 6 is biggest surprise, and for this one I've got 2 books. First is Aurora Rising because I was a little bit iffy going into it. I didn't know if I was gonna like it because I loved Illuminae, don't get me wrong, I loved Illuminae, but it is a completely different, like, everything. Like the way it's written is just completely different to a normal novel, so I wasn't sure how I was going to go with the actual writing of a normal novel from those 2 authors, because I've read Ice Wolves by Amy Kaufman, which is one of her single authored books, and I enjoyed Ice Wolves, but I did not like Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, like at all. I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the world, the building, the characters. I didn't like hardly anything in that book, so I was a bit iffy going into Aurora Rising as a novel form and whether I was actually going to enjoy it. So that was definitely a surprise that I absolutely loved it. And the other one is The Bone Charmer by Brianna Shields. And I'm not saying I'm surprised because I expected to hate this. It's that I had no idea what this is. I had not heard anything about it. I'd seen the cover mainly on Instagram a couple times because, let's be real, it's a beautiful cover, so people were showing it off, but I hadn't heard anything about it. I hadn't heard any reviews. I didn't know if it was good, if it was bad, so I was going into it a bit like, I don't know. And I did have the e-arc, so it was before release, so I literally had no idea what to expect from this book, and it surprised me. I absolutely loved it. It was so freaking good, and this cover is gorgeous. So question 7 is favourite new author, and I'm going to choose Contagion by Erin Bowman again. So, well, Erin Bowman I am choosing. I'm pretty sure this is her debut as well, and this could be like debut author or new to you author. And this was a new to me author. I never read anything by her before. The sounded interesting, but I never actually purchased it. I did get this through a book exchange, and I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. It was freaking amazing. So yeah, she's definitely a new favorite author, and I'm keen to see what comes next. So hopefully it'll be as good as this series. Obviously I haven't read Immunity yet, but hopefully Immunity will be as good as this one, and then hopefully whatever she does after that will be just as good. But at the moment, favorite new author, obviously I've only read one of the books, but I don't think there's an author that I've read more than one of their books this year that I can say is a favorite new one, so I'm gonna go with Erin Bowman. So question 8 is newest fictional crush, and I'm just gonna skip this one because it's completely irrelevant to me. I don't have crushes on book characters, it's just not who I am. So moving on. Question 9 is newest favorite character, and I don't really have an answer for this one either. I've thought about it, but I can't really think of one that isn't either from a sequel, so I've read the books in previous years and I already loved them and the love just continued this year, or was a reread, so I previously liked them. I don't have any new favorite characters, so I don't have an answer for this one. So question 10 is a book that made you cry, and I'm going to choose King of Fools by Amanda Foody. I'm not going to say why. If you've read this, you understand, but King of Fools. That was like the most recent one that I can think of. So question 11 is a book that made you happy, and this is another hard one because I feel like a lot of the books that make me happy are also like all over the place. Like that's the best thing. They're like sad and they're hectic and they're crazy and they're also happy. But I'm gonna go with The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson, which is the second book to Truly Devious, and I loved this book. I love this series. I can't wait for book 3. They just released the cover like last week and I'm so keen. So I'm gonna go with The Vanishing Stair just because I loved Truly Devious. I read it twice last year, and well, actually it was twice in the second half of last year, and I was so happy to finally receive this and finally get into this. It's not that it's like it made me happy, like the story, it's just like getting this book made me happy. I was like, yes, I need to read this, and I did read it like straight away and it was amazing. So I'm gonna go with that one. So question 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought this year, and I have a few answers for this one. I've got King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. Obviously this has got the design under the dust jacket, which is stunning. There's also Candle and the Flame, which I mentioned before. The Bone Charmer is gorgeous, and it has red underneath with rose gold writing on the spine, which is just beautiful. And the Candle and the Flame has the name of the book embossed into the actual hardcover of the book. And then I have Enchantée by Guito Trellis, which has this beautiful map of Paris on the inside, and it's got this little, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the Flatiron Books logo is embossed in the book as well, which I think is kind of appropriate because it's like a little building and it kind of looks like something you'd find in this world. And also I've done gold sprayed edges on Enchantée. That didn't come with that. I did that as myself. And then I'm gonna pick one more, and that is The Bright Signers by Jen Wild. This is a beautiful cover, like colored hair, come on. But also I sprayed this, which I think made it look fucking awesome, and I'm really happy with this. So it's another beautiful book. I didn't buy it this way, but I bought the book and then did this to it. And question 13 is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I actually did a full video for this. I have a lot, so I'll link that down below. But the two that directly come to mind are both sequels to books that I loved. So we have The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, which is the third book to the Bone season, and This Cruel Design, which is the second book to This Mortal Coil by Emily Sue Varda. So I loved both of the first books in these series, so I really need to get to the rest. So yeah, that is it for the mid-year book freakout tag for 2019. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.